but what it is, I double down. I tell them straight up, 100%. Alcohol's an issue. Great. Let's take care of it. What are we talking about? Let's go. Drugs are an issue. Cocaine, pot, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what it is. Let's just talk about it right now. Let's get it out here. Let's do it. Welcome back, guys, to Cases of Cocktails. This is episode 16. Today, we're talking a little bit about family advocacy, and we're going to have an interview today with a very special guest, Howard Butt IV. First and foremost, I want to introduce y'all to everybody here. And to my right is my beautiful wife, Janice. How you doing today?
Fabulous. How are you?
Fantastic, as always. You excited?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Directly across from me, I've got Sandra Aguilar. Sandra is a licensed professional counselor here in the great state of Texas, but more importantly, she is a client consultant here at the Eggleston Law Firm, and she plays a very vital role in everything that we do. She helps clients not only get prepared for court and do the things, but she helps them with parenting, co-parenting, and actually being a much better litigant. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great and excited.
Good. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm so excited about today.
Are you nervous a little bit?
A little bit, but I'm so excited about today.
Now, it's been a while since we've had you on.
Yes.
Right. So we missed you. Now, I don't know if you know this, but we talk about you a lot throughout all these podcasts. You know that? All
yes.
Right. All right.
I watched them all.
All right. Well, we missed you, so we're glad to have you back. Now, last but not least, we've got Howard Butt IV here today. Howard, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Good. Wait, we are excited to have you today. We're going to talk about family advocacy. It's kind of a broad title, but more importantly, we want to talk a lot about sort of something that you're currently doing. And you're helping people in a situation where they've got an addiction issue. Is that right?
Correct.
And you've got a company that you've started that you're kind of working with, right?
Yeah, I've started a company. It's called the Lumos Group. And we help substance abuse clients and alcoholism.
Fantastic. Now, how long have you been doing that?
I've been working in the substance abuse field since 2011, so quite a while now.
All right.
So
now, when we talk about family advocacy, and we're going to talk about what you're doing in sort of in a lens of how it affects family law cases, divorces, custody cases, and that sort of stuff. And I don't want to get too far into anything, but you've got some experience with that.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
You've kind of gone through trial by fire, maybe? It's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I've walked through it.
You've walked through it. And you're here to talk about it, right?
I'm here to talk about it.
Good. Yeah. And that was sort of the impetus for you starting that company and doing what you do.
Right. It just, 100%.
And really, for us, what we have been able to experience ourselves is you've actually helped some clients that we've had as well.
Yes, through what Sandra asked me to get on, on a Zoom call and talk them into going to treatment.
Yeah, and it's huge, right? It's absolutely huge, and it's helpful because in a situation for us, when we're talking about family law, having someone that's committed to their sobriety can really change a case for us and change really the outcome for our client. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really excited to talk about this a little bit today. The name of your company is Lumos.
The Lumos Group.
Yeah, the Lumos Group. And tell me, first and foremost, how can people find the Lumos Group?
You can go and search on Google, thelumosgroup.com.
Okay, fantastic. Now, how many people y'all got there at the Lumos Group?
Employees or clients?
No, let's just talk about employees.
It's just me and my fiance, Shay.
Fantastic. So, can I ask, how'd y'all meet?
We met through mutual friends.
Oh, it's fantastic. And she's what role does she play there at Lumos?
We kind of share the responsibility. She meets with male and female clients. I strictly meet with male clients. We would like some more female clients. But typically a session is about 3 hours and it's 3 times a week.
Tell me, what is it about Lumos that's different? What are y'all doing there at Lumos to help people through the addiction process?
Well, it's an intensive outpatient, and we walk through, and it's a case by case, and we spend about 3 hours a day with the individual, and that's really in their daily life. So that's either going to work with them,
Wow.
applying for a job. If it is court, it's kind of like picking up puzzle pieces. You know, I explain it to parents. It's like, when a child goes to a new school, there's a lot of pressure, right? And it'd be so easier to do it, going to 12-step meetings, you come out of treatment or you have this crippling addiction, and it's just easier to walk through it with someone by your side that has done it. And it's like, hey, we're going to get through this, and you just have an accountability buddy.
It's accountability and it's support.
It's support 100%.
Right, like you're talking about walking through it and knowing that you have someone there that's done this before.
Right.
And this is the first time I've heard of an organization that doesn't have them come to you. You literally meet them where they are.
We meet them
And
where they're at.
why do you think that is so important?
It's just finer tuned. You're not going to treatment with 30 other individuals with 30 other problems. It's really just me and the individual or the identified loved one who's struggling. And it's just more tailor-made to the individual.
Concierge treatment.
It is.
You get more of an inside look about how they're really living.
In their daily life, how they
what's
talk to their
really-
spouse, how they talk to their kids, how they talk to the waiters, the waitresses. It's you really get a quicker response of how to help.
Tell me,
You cut through the bullshit.
Yeah. In the four walls of therapy, it's 45 minutes with a therapist. You can show up and be whoever you want for 45 minutes, but you spend 6 months to a year with us, we're gonna get down to it pretty quick.
and that's what it takes really to address the addiction issue, right? And we previously had a podcast with Lisa Rothfuss, and she's a therapist, and she does reunification therapy and does parental alienation interventions. Right? And we talked about, you have different levels, just like addiction, right? You have some people that are severely addicted. You have some people that have maybe a slight or a moderate addiction. But once you've identified that doesn't just go away, right? And you've got to have the support on the backside, and that's really what you're providing there, is that walk and addressing it in the day-to-day stuff. Right?
The accountability with the loved ones or the parents or the spouse or even the kids.
Yeah.
So
tell me, how many clients do y'all have over there at Lumos?
we have 5 currently, and that's about capacity for us, unless we want to bring on some part-time help or bring on. But we like to keep it pretty small.
So it's all tailor-made. It's very small and very intimate. You got some success stories over there?
We do.
Yeah.
We've got some,
Yeah.
It's some success stories and some struggles.
Yeah.
It's always, but we stay with our clients through their lives, for a long time, and they will always,
Come back
they're
to
in
you.
town, we'll go to lunch,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's truly gives me purpose to wake up in the morning and doesn't feel like a job at all.
Do you find yourself seeing some people that you're helping making the same mistakes that maybe you made or that you went through?
For sure. There's definitely they're not kind of aware. They kind of show up like I used to show up. I'm like, aha, there's some similars and there's some differences, and I can work with Shay, and Shay can, we find each other talking about the individuals at night and how to, best suit the individual. And it goes beyond that. We help coach parents how to relearn certain things with their kids.
Right.
How to parent better.
Right.
We kind of take the parenting role off the parents, and we become the parent or help facilitate that. We kind of play the bad guys.
Right.
I'm calling to check, are you taking medication?
Right.
We're doing the urine analysis test. We're kind of offload that from the parents.
You're taking the accountability things that are used to kind of weaponize those interpersonal dynamics,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
That's fair, man. That's fair. By the way, too, working with your spouse is a hazard. It's a hazard that
It's a blessing.
I'm very familiar with. How do y'all handle that? Y'all handle that
We
well?
we handle it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we both come from the same kind of 12-step mindset. Like, if it is a substance abuse problem, we work with mental health as well, but primarily substance abuse.
Do y'all have people just in the Austin area, or is this statewide?
No, it's
Countrywide?
just in Austin
Okay.
currently. We've got some phone calls. We've had a family member move their loved one to Austin from Houston to work with us and got them an apartment and stuff like that. So,
Have you had to testify before? Not necessarily for you, but for a client.
I have not. I don't think so. No, I have not.
You went through your own experiences with the family law system and addiction, and then you've got clients that are going through that. Do you see mistakes they're making?
Do I see any mistakes they are making? Not really.
Yeah.
We don't have a client currently that's going through any type of litigation.
Yeah.
Now we've had phone calls.
Plenty of phone calls. Yeah.
I had a guy, 53-year-old guy, wanted to hire us so that we could show up to court for him, but he didn't feel like he had an issue, and I thought that it would be a lot more work, and that then we're willing to, I mean, the first step is acknowledging that you have a problem, not just trying to cut the corners to get,
Do you think that your setup where you have this personal connection to what they're going through helps the success rate?
Yes.
Okay. You can kind of scope out not only what mistakes they're making or if they're lying to you, but you can kind of give them line of sight to future things that they might encounter that they've not yet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, when you're walking through this, and is there certain, are there certain steps that you're trying to get them to? Are there certain requirements to work with you? Sometimes some people say, "Hey, I want to get to them before they get to treatment," or "I want them to go to treatment first." And then once they're with you, then do y'all have an overall game plan for them, or is it just literally just step by step?
Really, it's like step by step of where they're at
Yeah.
and where we're willing to jump in with them.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much, wherever they're struggling, we're gonna jump in and walk side by side, kind of.
Right.
We've compared it to like they're the professional golfer. We're
Right.
just the caddy.
Right.
We're just there. They're swinging the club. They're hitting the ball. They're choosing which iron to, is it 150 yards? Is it 200? And we're just there to help coach them through it.
The other question was, do you want them before or after treatment?
We do both.
Okay. All right.
It's easier coming out of treatment.
Right.
It's kind of a step down program.
Okay.
But we will take clients that are kind of on the fence about treatment. And we work with also professionals. So professionals that can't go away for, 3 weeks to, 90 days.
That's right. Because they can continue to work and live and do the things that they need to do.
And we'll have contracts in place that if there's a slip or there's a relapse, then they'll need a higher level of care, and then we'll press pause on what we do. And then when they come out of treatment, we'll begin right where they stopped.
So along the same lines of the rules that you have, are there rules that, if you do these things or don't do these things, you're out of the program, or I'm not going to help you?
We have like 2 to 3 rules. We want you to commit to being sober, and we want you to show up for session. So, if you start dodging us, we're going to either contact a loved one, and we're going to have leverage. So, if you don't do so many sessions, then you're going to go to a high level of care.
Right. What we see all the time, and Sandra, you and I, we've had multiple cases where we deal with this, is that you've got someone who, once they are in a family law case, a litigation situation, to go to your point, Howard, the acceptance issue sort of almost becomes an afterthought, because we're going to have to deal with it no matter what it is, right? We're going to have to deal with it, and whether you accept it or don't accept it, right? You're going to have to, in some capacity, address it before the court. And oftentimes for us, that means that you're going to have to go to some sort of program, no matter what that program is, whether it's AA, NA, or all the way to inpatient treatment. And it's difficult because we hear that all the time. We hear, hey, I've got work, or I'm supposed to have my kids this weekend, or X, Y, and Z. And so getting someone the ability, the opportunity to continue to live their lives, but be supported, right?
Right.
How much, in that same vein, oftentimes, at least for us on the litigation side, we have to reach out to family members and loved ones, that sort of stuff. I assume you're highly involved with all those people.
Right. And, it's more of like the mindset of like, this has to be the priority or nothing else will fall in place.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And we see that all the time, right? We have to tell them, you may have a job, you have this, but we got to fix this in order we can go back. Because if you don't fix it, you're going to lose your kids.
You're going to lose all of it.
Right.
Because
everything.
Because sometimes what happens is a client or an individual takes a position that if I do this and I am acknowledging that I have a problem, then I am potentially going to lose my kids or have less time. And so the fear of acknowledging and actually going to treatment to get better and not realizing, okay, this may be what happens, but long-term down the road, it's what really makes the difference.
Right.
To have the success like, okay, yeah, I am admitting because I do have this problem.
Right.
And a year from now or 6 months from now, I don't have to worry about this. If I don't appropriately take care of it and address it now, I'm going to continue to relapse. I'm going to continue to have these problems. The kids are going to find me on the floor drunk, or I'm going to get a DWI or something. It's going to continue if I don't address it. And so that's one of the things that, from my position on working on cases and working with families, it's like, I get it. That it's going to affect you now, but it's going to affect you now or later. This is going to be more successful.
And it's scary. It's
yeah.
scary. It's scary to admit that and then have either the opposing attorney kind of use it against you. And I think that most people, if you're working, nowadays, if you're working on yourself and bettering yourself, people accept that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From a litigation perspective, as an attorney, I have that conversation. I had that conversation often with clients. It's okay. I understand you don't want to admit to this because you feel like you're going to be looked at in a particular way in the courtroom or it's going to be held against you. But the issues are still the issues, regardless of what we label it. And thank goodness Sandra decided to join us because she does a much better job at explaining to clients why it's important. Mine's very logical. Well, obviously this makes sense. Just do this.
Right.
And that doesn't really translate often. And Sandra's got that touch.
I get in trouble for this all the time. Sandra yells at me. She doesn't yell at me. She tells me I'm an idiot, but that's all right. But what it is, I double down. I tell them straight up, 100%. Alcohol's an issue? Great. Let's take care of it. What are we talking about? Let's go. Drugs are an issue, cocaine, pot, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what it is. Let's just talk about it right now. Let's get it out here. Let's do it. In fact, I want to talk to the other side about it.
Yeah.
I want to go to court. This is all I want to talk about. All I want to talk about is your sobriety today, because I truly believe this. I truly believe, and I know this is a little naive, and you may laugh at me, so it's okay, but I truly believe we as a firm have the resources to help you, one, commit to sobriety, right? Put you in the right spot, but two, help you then navigate that sobriety inside the litigation realm, which is extremely scary, right? So what y'all are talking about, right? It's like, hey, I admit to this, we're going to use it in court, and I'm telling you 100%, and I want to go to court and use it.
Right.
Because if you're fully committed to your sobriety, right, and you're successful at it, and success is subjective, right? That's not not everyone's different, right?
Success definitely doesn't mean that you're never going to relapse. It's just an unrealistic expectation.
But if you're successful at it, we can use that in court to help the court understand it. Yeah, this is a problem.
Yeah.
100%, we got it. But man, look at what we're doing, and look at what this person's willing to do for his or her children right now, right? And yes, you can yell at him or yell at her and scream at them and tell them they're terrible, but they're doing the work, right? They're doing the work. And then I feel like we can help them navigate the litigation to get to a space where they get an order where they can be successful and stay committed to their sobriety. That makes sense. It's kind of a 3-step.
Yeah, as
kind of
long as
deal.
you're transparent, there's no skeletons. Let's get it all on the table
All it
and
is,
let's
just do
ride
it.
this wave out because you're
Yes.
going to have to.
Exactly. Because at some
Acceptance.
point, acceptance, right? And if you don't do that, then we're wasting time, right? That makes sense.
Time and money.
It's easy for me to say that, Howard. So I'm trying to tread lightly, but you can see how
I hear.
how like that. I mean, that's my approach. Like, you know, I tell the team all the time, my team anyways, I tell them, you know, double down. They call you an alcoholic, double down. Cool. Let's go do it. They say
We
you're
all
on
make
drugs.
mistakes. We've
Yeah.
all got issues as parents, whatever it is. I think, you know, you need a litigator that's experienced in those types of cases.
Right.
Because if you haven't done it, you don't know what you should focus on when you go to court. And what you focus on is, look, we all make mistakes. We've all got problems. The difference between a good parent and a bad parent, which is what the judge is looking for, is the person that's willing to acknowledge it and then do the work.
Right.
And that's it.
100, yeah, agreed.
Now, Howard, I gotta ask this question because before we came on, you and I were having a conversation, and you told me about this. First of all, I think this is amazing on a lot of different levels. But you told me a story about a recent trip that you took,
Right.
and this is it's not a trip that you took by yourself, right? But it's a trip to El Salvador, and you actually took a group of individuals with you that were all in their first year of sobriety.
First year of sobriety.
All right, tell me a little bit about that.
So I got together with one of my buddies who I've known for about 10 years, and he does a nonprofit here in Austin, and he owns sober living homes. And I got with him, and I was like, man, we need to put something together. I need to donate some money. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? What makes you tick? And we kind of kicked the ball around, and I was like, let's go surfing and take 15 guys that are in their first year of sobriety, don't know how to surf, and let's just get them on the wave.
That's awesome, man.
And man, it was life-changing for myself just to watch these guys, you know, bro out, hang out. We got a big house down there. Everyone were cooking together. It's like just a big hangout.
Did you know each other? Did you know each other?
I knew about half the group. So
Okay.
half the group I worked with.
All right.
And then half the guys I didn't know that were in sober living with Patrick Hensley.
Okay.
And it was awesome.
So no booze, no drugs, no substances,
No even
nothing.
thoughts about it.
That's awesome, man.
They were coming back to the airport from the beach to San Salvador airport, and we were talking about the experience we had for the 7 days. And man, it brought tears to my eyes what these guys were saying.
Tell me
it was
why.
wild.
Tell me why.
Just them saying, hey, my life, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, if you told me I would be in El Salvador surfing, like I'd tell you, you're fucking crazy. And it's
There's no
just
way,
for Patrick and I to put that on and for that to happen. It's just giving back in a way that, those guys will never forget that.
Right. I don't think you'll ever forget it.
I'll never forget it. Yeah. And like when you take that step to being sober, you've got to find other ways to have fun.
Right.
You've got to find hobbies, sports, and most addicts, their whole life has been, we're going to use before everything, before we go to the movies, before we go to a professional basketball game, before whatever we're doing, we're always
using,
loaded.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like showing them that we can have this great experience and you're not even going to think about alcohol.
The other thing is too, it's sort of a dual thing, right? The process is you got to get sober, but then you got to figure out how to live sober too. Right. That's hard.
Right.
Tell me, do you know how to surf?
I know how to surf. I could use a lot more lessons. It's tough.
Yeah.
I skateboard and I snowboard, and out of those, surfing's the hardest.
The hardest.
You got to catch the wave. You got to read the wave. You got to pop up. You got to ride it.
Do all the things.
But it's the most rewarding, I think. I mean, it's
you?
very spiritual. Yeah. You're in the water. It's like exercise, a game, a sport, and therapy all in one.
All in one.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
It's truly, if I could do it every day, I would.
All right. Well, let me ask this question. Are you going to go back? Are you going to do it
again?
We are
already planning to take a whole new group of guys.
That'll be awesome, man. That'll be awesome.
It'll be same location. And we had surf instructors in the water, and we were doing 2 a day.
That's awesome.
Surfing in the morning and
in the afternoon.
and then lunch and a nap in between. It was, it was.
I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm not recovering, but man, I'd really like to go do that. I am recovering from being a litigator. I don't know if you know that or not. If that qualifies, right?
What made you choose El Salvador?
I reached out to some guys that are a lot better surfers than I am, and I said, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador. I'd read about it, and a good buddy in LA and Hawaii said, you have to go to San Salvador or El Salvador.
Yeah. That good. Waves are good.
Waves are good.
Yeah.
Not too expensive to get there.
Nice.
Pretty easy living. So,
I want to tell you something, man. I think that's fantastic, and I'm glad that you've been able to turn your journey into something to help other people. And it really, from my perspective, it seems like it really makes you happy.
it does.
That's good, man. That's awesome.
Gives me a purpose and doesn't feel like work. It just feels like living. So.
I will tell you what's funny. What's funny about that statement is I love doing what I do too. I really do. And so I get that.
You're helping people in the end.
I try very hard,
Yeah.
and I get some criticism sometimes from my team because I feel like we're trying to help them more than what we should be, but I get it. You get that drive, that passion, that's what you want to do. You want to help people, and so I greatly appreciate you spending time with us today.
Thanks for having me on. Thank you, Sandra.
What I want to do one more time, if you'll tell everyone where they can get a hold of you or the Lumos Group or whatever it is that you want to do that, where can they go find you?
Yeah, you can just Google or www.thelumosgroup.com, and my phone number will be on there.
Fantastic.
So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Currently, any open spots in the program?
we have one open spot. Shay would like to say we have two, but it's a lot of time.
It sounds like you have two.
Maybe she has one. I have one.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you, Brian.
Fair. Sandra, as always.
Thank you.
All right. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today here at Cases and Cocktails. You can check us out on all the audio platforms for podcasts, Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all the good ones.
Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.